Good morning, everyone. So I would like to welcome you all in our English Maritime course. So we are now on our week 68, day 1. So this time, um, it's all requested by the Gumyang Shipping Seafarers. So for over the next hour, we will explore the critical link between the cargo handling, modern port and infrastructure, shipboard system, and safety framework that keep 90% of the global trading. So I have here the three clean structured content. So in our session today, it is divided into three goals. So first, we will understand how different cargo types affect vessel stability. So we're going to analyze how the diverse cargo types are planned, distributed, and loaded into ocean vessels. And then the second one, we will look at the machinery used both onshore and at the sea. So we will be master the engineering of the shore side and the shipboard cranes, systems, and terminal networks. And finally, we will cover the international safety regulations that prevent the structural damage and accident. So for now, to understand the cargo handling, so we must appreciate its scale. So maritime trade handles over a 90% global commerce. So it is the cheapest and most carbon efficient way to move goods over long distances. So every minute save on berth translate to thousands of dollars save in vessel operating cost. So the shipping act as a circulatory system of the world trade. So with the massive volumes flowing through the highly coordinated port bottlenecks daily. So for our module 1, so this is the classification of the maritime cargoes. So this is a deep Navy transition slide with cold divider. So let's begin with this module 1. So how we package, lift, and store the cargo depends entirely on its physical state. So the core cargo families. So the maritime logistics, they break cargo down into distinct physical states to determine the necessary vessels layout, cranes, and harbor storage system. So we categorize cargo into three primary families. So the bulk, the general cargo, and the containerized. So the bulk cargo, so loose, homogeneous commodities transported in bulk holds. So includes the dry commodities like the coal, grains, and liquid energy like the oil. So here, the bulk is carried completely loose in the ship's cargo holds, while the general cargo, it consists of individual pieces like steel rolls or cranes. So it includes also the break bulk crates, pallets, steel coils, and project equipment. And then we also have here the containerized cargo. So this is the standardized these individual pieces into modular steel boxes. Or we can get TEUs that designed for rapid lifting and intermodal transitions. So I have here what you can see the dry bulk commodities. So as you can see, there's a two-column split with the dry bulk carrier. So dry bulk is transported into unpacked in a large holes to maximize vessel space. Handling depends on the heavily on terminal systems like conveyor loops. So dry bulk cargo such as the coal, grains, iron ore, and cement, they are shipped without packaging. So it is loaded directly into the ship's holds. So because it is loose, it is highly susceptible to, to moisture and shifting. So which requires a careful cargo management. So this also requires special moisture and dust suppression control. So we have here also the liquid bulk logistics. So there are closed piping systems. So liquid bulk, it consists of fluid cargo, moved via specialized pipelines, manifold systems, and shore terminal pumps. So liquid bulk, including the crude oil, LNG, and liquid chemicals, they requires specialized pumps, manifolds, and pipings. So it never touches the open air during transfers. Systems such as inner gas blanking are used to prevent some combustions in the tanks. So we are now with this containerized cargo on the intermodal standards. So as you can see here in the pictures, the containerizations revolutionized shipping in the mid 20th century. So by standardizing the size into 20 foot and 40-foot units, we created a system where the ships, trains, and trucks can use the exact same lifting gear. So we have here what we call the specialized containers. So not everything fits in a standard steel box. So we use refers to keep food cold, open tops for tall equipments, flat cracks for uh, industrial parts. Again, we have what we call the reefer containers. So this is equipped with a cooling system for perishable produced and medical supplies requiring temperature sensitive cold contains. So, and then we have what we call the open tops containers. So use this for at all equipment. So the removable canvas roof covers designs for the overhead crane loading and oversized machinery. We have also what we call the flat racks. So this is for the wide industrial parts. So no sidewalls or roof, ideal for heavy, wide industrial parts, trucks, and yachts. And lastly, what we call the ISO tank containers. So this one is used for transport liquid chemicals safely. So the stainless steel cylinder vessel mounted inside a standard frame. So again, it's designed for a safely carry liquid chemicals. We have now here what we call the roll on and roll off or the ro-ro. So ro-ro cargo is driven directly on and off the vessel using the built-in ramps. So this is primary method for the shipping cars, trucks, and heavy machinery. So this one is securing these vessels on board that requires specialized lashing straps to prevent from the rolling. So I have here now what we call the project cargo and heavy lift. So this is a high value, heavy or out of gauge infrastructure components that cannot be containerized. So project cargo covers extremely heavy or oversized item. So such as wind, turbine blades, train cars, or oil rig components. So these shipments, it requires custom engineering plans, specialized heavy lift cranes, and careful route planning. So as you can see in the picture, it's very open. So for our module 2, so now let's look. It's about the port and the terminal infrastructure, which focuses on the design and layout of the modern maritime terminals. But first, we have here some key zones of the maritime terminal. So the terminal is divided into three key zones. We have the quay, so the concrete seaside apron where the ships dock and cargo moves between deck and dock. So the quay is where the ships dock to load and unload. And then we have the storage yard. So the buffer zone where the cargo is stacked in the grids. So so the storage yard is act as a buffer zone. And then lastly, we have what they call the gate, the terminal gate. The terminal gate, so again, the last part, what we call the gate, it controls the landslide traffic and verifies the export or export documents. And then we have the shore translate. So we have here the shore to ship transition zone. So the quay apron is the most critical area. So here, speed and precision are essential. Space is limited and harbor trucks, cranes, spreaders, and deck crew must work in a perfect coordination. So this is the layout and logic. So stocking yards are organized using the strict operational logic. So we have here the export containers. The export containers sort by destination port, vessel voyage, and weight class. So they are sort by destination and weight. We also have here the import blocks. So they are designed for a quick truck pickup. And then we also have the reefers are grouped near power sources. And lastly, we have the dangerous goods. So these are the isolated in a secure zone. So liquid bulk terminals. So the liquid bulk terminals do not use an open yards. So instead, they feature a specialized marine loading arms, pipelines, and tank storage farms. So these facilities includes a built-in containment wall to prevent the environmental spills. So that's for the our part of the module 2 for the port and terminal infrastructure. So we are now moving to our module 3. So in module 3, we will cover the shoreside machinery that powers the port operations. And then ship to shore, gantry cranes. So STS cranes are the giant structure you see in the container ports. So the modern superposed Panamax cranes can reach across a 24 container rows in a ship deck and lift over 100 ton using the telescopic spreaders. And then we have what we call the reach stackers. So this is the yard workhorses. So reach stackers are highly mobile. So heavy duty trucks equipped with that telescopic booms. So they are ideal for the medium sized terminals that allowing operators to stack containers up to 5 units high. And then we also have what we call the straddle carrier. So the straddle carriers lift containers from above and carry them directly across the yard. So this one, it eliminates the need for your trucks, creating a highly efficient and single vehicle transport loop. Next is what we call the RTG and RMG cranes. So rubber-tired gantries. So they offer a flexibility by moving across different yard lanes on a rubber wheel. We have also what we call the rail-mounted gantries. So they run on a fixed steel tracks. And then we also have offering a highly stacking capacity and excellent potential for the automation. So next is the heavy duty forklifts. So the heavy duty forklifts are highly versatile. So empty container, handlers lifts light, and empty boxes to stack them up to 8 high. So while industrial forklifts are used to move break bulk cargo in the warehouse or the warehouses. And then lastly is what we call the dry bulk or conveyors and the hopper. So for the dry bulks, a continuous movement is the key. The conveyor belt transport, they lose coal or grain over a long distances, while the hopper funnel grab loads directly into the trucks or rail cars. So for our next topic, the module 4 is about the shipboard cargo handling equipment. So how do the ships manage the cargo operations when shore cranes are unavailable? So we have here gird or the girdless vessel. So the gird vessels, they carry their own cranes. So it's allowing them to load and unload in remote or less developed ports. So equip in on-board cranes, derricks, or ramps so they can load and discharge cargo independently. So making them ideal for the smaller ports without shoreside cranes. So the geared ships, they offer unmatched flexibility but carry a high maintenance cost. Girdless vessel design optimized cargo capacity and speed up port times. So the girdless vessel rely entirely on a high capacity shore cranes. So maximizing their deck space for the cargo. So the ships without cranes, they rely entirely on a high capacity shore ship port infrastructure. So this one it allowing them to carry more containers on their deck. So the smaller developing ports, they requires a geared vessels in handling incoming trade, while global hubs serve giant girdless container ships. So we have here the shipboard deck cranes. So these are typically mounted along the ship's center line. So they can rotate a full 360 to access a multiple hold screen that can be operate in tandem to lift double the weight. So tandem it links the two cranes together to lift double the weight. And then we have here the yacht cover. So yacht cover seals the ship's holds to prevent the sea water entry. So this one is ensuring that the vessel remains watertight. So modern yacht covers are hydraulically operated and built to support the weight of the container stacks lash on top. So this one, it is a weather-tight security. So protects vulnerable cargo holds from seawater entry and extreme weather. So ensuring that the ship remain watertight and seaworthy. There are also hydraulic system. So the modern yacht covers utilized quick-acting hydraulic arms to fold, roll, or lift a massive steel panels in a minute. And then load-bearing decks. So the engineered with reinforced steel to support a heavy container stacks lashes on the top of the covers. So this one is lashing or some lifting accessories. So the lashing and securing system. So at the sea, ships face extreme pitching and rolling. So to prevent cargo from shifting or falling or overboard, we use a twist lock to connect containers vertically and steel lashing rods to secure them on the deck. For the safe lifting operations, so we rely on their certified accessories. So we have here what we call the rated D shackles and bow shackles. So this is the heavy duty steel connectors rated with the safe working load limits to connect lifting chains to cargo point safety. And then we also have wire ropes and web slings. So these are the flexible lines wrapped around the brake bulk, boxes, or steel pipes to lift them without damaging the surfaces. And then we have also what we call the spreader beams. So these are the structural beams that distribute a heavy lifting forces horizontally, keeping cranes, cables vertical and safe. And then lastly is the distributed lifting forces evenly, the overhaul bolts and hooks. So weight crane hooks that provide the necessary tension to lower empty hoist lines moistly. So we are now moving forward in our module 5. So we will walk through the operational workflow of planning, loading, and discharge a ship. So first we have the pre-arrival planning. So here, cargo planning starts long before the ship's docks. So marine planners use a stowage software to distribute the weight safely. So keeping the heavier cargo lower in the ship to maintain the stability and control hull stress. So we have now the step-by-step horizontal timeline. So for maximum efficiency, loading operations are planned as a continuous high-speed loop of synchronized movement. So the loading cycle is continuous. So the yard trucks deliver containers to the quay. The STS cranes lock into the corners, hoist the load, and lower it into the ship's sales guide. So first is the marshal. The tractor move containers into train quay and then engage so the STS crane spreaders lock into the corners. And then transit, the container is hoisted and trolley over the ships. And lastly, the seats. So lowered into the cell guides and lash on deck. So this is the loading cycle. So we have what we call the discharge cycle. So this is the unloading, requires careful sequence planning to ensure the ship remains balanced as massive weight are removed. So discharging a ship requires careful sequence to keep the vessel balanced as weight is removed. So Steve Doors unlocks the lashing gear tier by tier and allowing the cranes to hoist containers smoothly to the dock. So we have here the maritime documentation flow. So this is the detailed table showing the BL manifest and then stowage plan and the VGM. So safe operations, they rely on the accurate documentation. The bill of landing, the bill of lading defines ownership. And then the cargo manifest declares the cargo for the customs. And then the stowage plan maps out weight distributions. And then the VGM certificate it prevents the crane overloads. And of course, lastly, the dangerous goods declaration. So you need to identify the IMDG hazard class that requiring a special safety and fire handling. So for our module 6, so this is our final session, section. The module 6, it covered the safety regulations and future of the maritime cargo handling. So we have some key regulatory frameworks. So the maritime industry is governed by a strict international codes. So we have the SOLAS Chapter 6. It is regulates the cargo carriage and mandates verified weights. And then the IMDG codes sets the safety standards for a dangerous goods. And then the BLU code, this one protects the bulk carrier hulls during loading. So the workspace safety and the PPE. So the ports are high-risk work environments. So to protect the personnel, we enforce strict safety zones and mandate the personal protective equipment, including the hard hats, high visibility vests, and steel toe boots. So clear radio protocols prevent movement errors between crane and deck crews. And then we have also here what we call the port automations and AI. So for the future of ports lies in automation. Modern terminal uses a driveless automated guided vehicles or the AGVs. So remote controlled cranes and AI software to optimize the stacking yard efficiency and crane pathways. So these are the modern megaports use the advanced automation and artificial intelligence to run the clock around the clock operations. And then the green port initiatives. So decarbonizations is the major priority. So ports are reducing emissions by installing the shore power or cold ironing so the ship can plug in and turn off their diesel engines and transition to a fully electric yard cranes. So they are investing in a clean energy and sustainable equipment. So this will be the end of our discussion for today. So this all concludes our comprehensive masterclass on the maritime cargo handling. So I hope you learned something, and then we will be continue our discussion and the topics that covered today. And we would like to thank you all for your time. Again, this is your instructor Elaine for our English Maritime course that requested by the Gumyong Seafarers, shipping seafarers.